I want to welcome Albert Labs, Barney Neal, Chan Jagpal, and Malcolm Barrett Johnson. Really appreciate you gentlemen coming on. Barney, maybe do you want to sort of introduce yourself, say hello, and we can get things started with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So hello, everyone. We're Albert Labs, and our mission is to ensure accelerated access to safe and effective psychedelic-assisted therapy for patients with urgent and unmet needs. So, of course, Albert Labs, Albert Hoffman, the pioneer who discovered LSD and then later synthesized psilocin from psilocybin. He was a hugely renowned academist and he was notable for his work in psychedelics, and we want to pay homage to him. And this is Albert Labs, and I'm going to introduce you to Chan Jagpal, our Chief Operations Officer, and later you'll hear from Malcolm Barrett Johnson, who is our Chief Medical Officer.
Fantastic. Thank you, Barney. So I'm also a director of Albert Labs, and I just want to really quickly introduce Albert Labs. Our website is albertlabs.com. There's an Invest Now button to the top right-hand side. And you can go there and click on it and find all sorts of information and get a corporate update there as well. So really quickly, I want to move into why Albert Labs is different. We're different than a lot of other psychedelic deals because we're asset light. We're what we call a blue ocean strategy, and we're targeting fast results. And so when I talk about asset light, we're not a company that's investing in a lot of clinics or real estate. We're not a company that's investing into novel molecules. That could be hundreds of millions. We do have a lab in Burnaby where we can import, export, sell. We're going to target some R&D for psilocybin cultivation, extraction, and formulation technologies. But the bulk of our capital expenditure is going to be on actually setting up the real-world evidence team, getting in a situation where we can get to patients quickly that require treatment, that have an unmet medical need, and then move forward with revenues and create shareholder value. So as a blue ocean strategy, our niche mental health indication has to do with cancer-related anxiety. And this cancer-related anxiety of course, is going to be within the oncology centers in the UK. And these oncology centers already have multidisciplinary teams. They have patient pools, clinicians, and experts. And so we're adding our psilocybin-based assisted therapy to this team. And what we really want to do is get to these patients fast. These patients, they really need this therapy. And we know that psilocybin is a great help in the quality of life to patients that are suffering from cancer-related anxiety. And then step two would be to get those therapies approved and move quickly into revenue generation. So really quickly, as a value proposition, what is Albert Labs? Well, we're going to be a first mover. We're going to be the first psychedelics company to leverage real-world evidence studies to deliver the therapies to patients with unmet medical needs. We're also going to have an IP strategy. We're going to run these trials. So the real-world evidence trials, we are collecting data, and this data will be published. It'll be published, the results will be published so that we can then turn around and use those publications to market more clinicians and patients on how well the therapy works. And thirdly, we're a scalable and portable model. So although we're starting with cancer-related anxiety, we can quickly move into other niche mental health indications. And beyond that, we can move this same strategy across Europe. So we can access other oncology centers, for instance, through the Scandinavian countries, down throughout Germany, and throughout the rest of Europe. So in summary, I just want to mention, I want to summarize that our commercialization model is based on an asset-light strategy. It's based on the real-world evidence team that we've put together. We have experts in market access, drug development, regulatory, UK regulatory compliance issues. And what we're really going to do is spend the money to make sure that real-world evidence team can get access to those patients and to those revenues. And what I'll do is I'll hand it over to Malcolm, and Malcolm can do a deep dive into real-world evidence and what it's all about.
Shan, thank you very much. Hello, good evening, everybody. Evening in the UK over here, anyway. I'm Malcolm Barrett-Johnson. I'm the CMO of the company, and my background is I'm a medical doctor, and I trained in London. I then went and became an anaesthetist, and then joined the MHRA, the regulatory body in the UK. And my background is very much regulatory based. And then I went into the European Commission. I joined with the Innovative Medicines Initiative, and then I set up a series of companies working on the regulatory space and in, as Shan said, in the market access side and the medical affairs side. So I'm very much into the medical side of cancer and everything we're dealing with here. When you're looking at a normal clinical trial, a randomized clinical trial, it's a very expensive process. It costs about $250 million if you're lucky, and it takes many years, 3 to 5 years, again, if you're very lucky. And you still don't really get out at the other end the results you really want. It's a bit of a lottery. What's happened recently is we've developed a series of models across the regulatory space and into market access, which allow us to actually look at the real world data. Real world evidence as a concept has been around quite a long time, but only recently have we really been able to capitalize on that and use it correctly. Now on this slide, you can see basically this wheel on the right hand side here. Now what we're going to be using is, with real world evidence, you can actually target patients quicker, you can get the data in quicker. And why do we need that? Because nowadays, innovation, medicines have advanced so far, is that it's very complex to actually get a product in, take it to market at any time frame, at any cost, which is a reasonable one. Not only that, the patients are waiting around. And as Shan said earlier, this is a very interesting space, but a very, very vital space. Cancer patients, and especially at this point in time when we got COVID-19, and we got a lot of cancer patients suffering very badly, need to have access to these medicines quickly. Now, to do that in a clinical trial setting, an RCT takes time and effort. With this, we can get, as I said, the products in quickly, and we can work with people who know what they're doing on the oncology space. We're going to be using a model which, as Shan said, we're going to go into the major centres in the UK, like the Marsden, and we're going to be working with oncology specialists and cancer specialists, actually giving these medicines to them and seeing results really quickly. That way, as Shan said, we aren't using assets ourselves, we're using the assets of the NHS and innovators and investigators who already know how to treat patients. But by giving them another tool with the psychedelics, we can actually see the results much quicker. Barney, next slide, please. On here, we've got the timeline of it. So what we've started already. At the end of 2020, we formed the company. We've got advisory boards on board now. And what we're doing at the moment, we're actually putting the protocols together to go into these centres. Now, when we've done that, we can actually expand that centre structure up to 10 centres in the UK. And our hope is, within a very short space of time, expand that across Europe. Into June, we can then start our partnerships properly and then expand that out, distributing psilocybin. And we're hoping by the end of the year, we can get interim analyses. Now, that's an amazing thing to do, because with the world evidence, we can do something that the RCTs can't do. We can get interim analyses, and we're hoping to get real publications out, if not by the end of this year, by the very beginning of 2022. To do that is quite an achievement. And what we can also then do is we can tie this information in with the regulatory authorities, and with new processes now present in Britain, because of the Brexit, allows the regulators to go much more independent than they've ever had before. And they will be working with us in actually co-developing these drugs and working with us to get these drugs into patients officially and license them.